welcome back to Chris Frank Games
E3 edition.
super special E3 edition. My name is Chris Stotts, and this is Frank White. Frank, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I,
Uh,
I actually had a chance to watch lots and lots of YouTube videos this week while I was pretending to work.
yeah, tis the season, and yeah, so this is our special E3 edition, and yeah, we're just pretty much watching all this stuff on YouTube. So tell me again why they have these big ass press conferences and all this stuff.
Yeah. I don't know why you would submit to watching it live unless you were actually there. We didn't have any flute guys this year, but still, it's just much easier to just keep like another tab where you're refreshing the appropriate company's YouTube page, and they'll pop up. You can time that stuff out now, so it pops up during the show.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
the way to do it.
how much money did Microsoft spend on their show? I mean, $20 million. I mean, 50 million, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how much these things cost. Maybe I'm way off. Maybe 10. But good lord, I mean,
Certainly a lot.
this I don't think this stuff's sustainable. They're like, wow, we could just dump that more into. I mean, I guess this is marketing, but I don't know. Who knows? All right, but it is the big E3 spectacular, and I'll tell you what. If you want E3 news or opinions, let's say that. If you want E3 opinions, I know there's a lot of podcasts and shows and web shows and all this stuff and YouTubers and all this crap. Uh, for the most part, they're wrong. All right, and Frank and I think we have a special take on a lot of these things, and we're gonna cut through the noise and tell you what's up.
Let's do it.
That's the promise to you. All right, so we got a lot to go through. So why don't we go through? Why don't we start off chronologically, and we'll start with EA. And this was on a Saturday morning at EA Play in Hollywood, actually. And I don't know, Frank, did you watch this at all?
No, I didn't pay too much attention to EA, and yeah, I don't even remember what they had other than like everybody is so much DLC. This is a new trend I don't care for. Let's stop announcing DLC during E3 like it matters. Like, no, I want the next game, the new game. That's what the trade show is for.
Yeah, well,
Come on, guys.
speaking of DLC, they talk about Battlefield 5. They're gonna go to the Pacific and all that stuff. So that's DLC that'll be coming through. But I think the way they kind of see these games is that it's like a 2-year cycle, or at least a year cycle. So they got to keep on supporting this crap and make the fan base happy. So I like seeing the Battlefield 5 DLC. But yeah, the FIFA and all that stuff, the Madden, I really pay much attention to. But the Jedi Fallen Order. So this is the game by Respawn, the former Infinity War guys, the COD guys, the Titanfall guys, and it's their
I
take.
did watch this one. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's their take on a third-person, kind of shooter Star Wars game. And Frank, I mean, I know it's an alpha. I think they stress that was not that was
Yeah.
pretty big font expressing that this is an alpha. But you know what? Maybe it's because I've been playing Spider-Man lately, which pretty much has like the animation and movement like nailed compared to this. But I thought this looked really rough and very just simplistic, and just this looked like a last gen game, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. So
It looked to me like the fake video game that they would make for a character to be playing in a movie. Like, we need our character to be playing a Star Wars video game in a movie. So somebody rendered this nice scene together like a video game
yeah, yeah. So
on the cheap.
it is an alpha, so I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. And these guys, I know they know how to polish. And like, listen, it's a lot of pressure to ask these guys, hey, come up with something that's going to look really awesome, for a stupid marketing, so we can show it instead of actually spending time to make the game.
Well,
You know
it's
what I mean?
certainly
So
better than no gameplay at all, which is another trend this year.
yeah,
Well, they do that every year, but seemed especially bad this year.
yeah, they did show gameplay, and yeah, kudos to them, I guess. But yeah, not a lot of,
At least
except
you tried.
yeah, not a lot of game, a lot of cinematic trailers, and I guess they're just like, hey, we're just gonna pay a special effects company just to make a cool
Yeah.
CGI trailer instead of actually like asking these guys to do a demo level and stuff. I guess that is a good use of resources, but you know, as a fan who
It's
wants to,
it's it's halfway in between getting the logo and getting the actual like
yeah,
decent gameplay trailer together. But I guess as far as the Star Wars is concerned, I really did like one thing about it that I greatly enjoyed, and that was when they did the shimmy in a narrow spot thing. Like it's very Uncharted.
yeah,
This
yeah,
looked like Star Wars Uncharted, Star Charted.
yeah, for sure.
Uh, but where the camera follows the little robot instead of him, like you lose your character for a bit as you're walking through there because the camera kind of floats up and follows the little robot that's normally on his back that just looks like the little Metal Gear. Oh, I can't remember what that was called from Metal Gear Solid 4, but they had a little one. That's totally just it with the legs. But yeah, that's they're definitely gonna sell some toys with that. So,
Yeah, and it's
and
like,
that's what they care about. So good for them.
yeah, yeah, and like, I guess bravo to them doing something different other than a first-person shooter. But if you're really good at first-person shooters, why not just make a kick-ass fucking Star Wars first-person shooter, man? Right? I think we're ready for that, right?
Yeah, let's
I don't
reboot
know.
Dark Forces.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, you go third person when you ignite the lightsaber, but I want to kill stormtroopers like Doom, 2016, right? You know what I'm saying? And that engine is, God, it's time to move on. Let's get a new engine, guys. Okay, something like that. All right. Okay, so other than E3, I mean, that wasn't. That's the only stuff that I was actually paying attention. I actually went to E3, the EA E3, because it was in Hollywood, and that's a short train ride from where I live. And I had nothing to do on a Saturday afternoon. I went there and I walked around the block. There was a line around the block, and it was like 80 degrees with the sun coming down. So I'm like, I'm not gonna wait for this. And I actually took the train downtown to the Ace Theater where Nintendo was doing their Splatoon 2 championships. And I went in there and I watched that. So that was pretty fun. Actually, I got some pins and I got some flags and all that stuff. It was kind of cool. So I watched Japan play United States, and Japan won. So, but
Who needs Cyberpunk 2077 when you can just ride the bus down to the video game tournament?
yeah, exactly.
It's already pretty cyberpunk.
I am living that life, except I got all my limbs right now. And by the way, just esports. I'll tell you what, esports is way better. Like when you're actually there in person, because it's like just like a sporting event. You like feel the energy.
Crowd.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like I was definitely down for it. People were cheering all this stuff. So I could have stayed for the Smash Brothers. I'm sure that would have been crazy. But I'm like, all right, I gotta go eat or something like that. I gotta go grab some food. Yeah, there's no re-entry too, by the way, and that was kind of annoying. So yeah, okay. All right, so let's move over to Microsoft here, and I'm just gonna go over the highlights here, and Frank jump in really quick. Whenever. Minecraft, Dungeons, which is basically Minecraft Diablo. I thought that actually looked pretty good.
Sure, whatever. Kids will love it. It'll make a gajillion dollars. I don't care.
It's coming to the Switch too, so that's pretty cool. So, all right, and then here's Frank, the kind of the best part of these trailers is trying to figure out what game it is before they show you the title.
What the genre is. There was several times this E3 that I watched a trailer and then went, "What kind of game is this? Like, is it?" Yeah.
And then speaking of which, so the Blair Witch game, which was a kind of complete surprise. This looked like what was that? Was it with a camcorder? Outlast, right?
Oh yeah. It totally looks like Outlast.
Yeah, people were saying it looks like Outlast. Is it made by the same people though? I don't know. Maybe.
No, because Outlast is Red Barrels.
Oh, okay. But yeah, the Blair Witch game. So I'm a fan of the original movie. I think it's a pretty good movie.
Yeah. The new ones, yeah.
What I can't remember what this was. Was this? Oh no, it was like a survival, right? It's Resident Evil, basically. It seems like.
Yeah, it's I think it's going to be more story focused. So it's going to be a story focused like survival horror game. Probably more like Resident Evil 7 if it's going to be like any Resident Evil because of the first person and everything. But I'm very intrigued by the dog because it seems like this is a no combat kind of thing, but you have like the dog is like a gameplay mechanic. Like you can tell it to sit or go, find stuff. And so that's I like that just whole idea of the because there's been a couple of those like what was it was like a really rare PS2 game. It's a survival horror, like a schoolgirl with a dog and ghosts. But yeah, so you've got like maybe an indirect defense, or the dog can be used as a warning or something, or just to make it a little less like you just shit your pants and run screaming if you were trapped in the woods with a spooky camcorder and
Yeah.
creepy Blair Witches.
Yep. Well,
I
I
know
mean, it looked cool.
I'm a little intrigued.
Yeah, it looked
Honestly.
cool. If it's kind of like a, that'd be like a definitely like a cool. I don't want to say like a walking simulator, but if that's one of those games you're not really like. I mean, you don't need to be killing demons. I mean,
Yeah,
just do your shit. Do your
but
Blair Witch shit.
and then with the dog to like actually add some more mechanics than Outlast would have. So
Yeah.
walking simulator plus.
Yep. And then yeah, give me some psycho effects. Like you get turned around in the woods a million times. You lose. You go crazy, and some guy throws the map. That was always the weirdest thing in that movie. The guy throws the map away. That was the always most unbelievable
I
thing.
think we've had this discussion before. But yeah.
What?
I think there's also going to be time bending stuff with the camera. That's another theme. Time loops were a big thing for the Xbox thing. So I think there might be like you're also having a time loop in the Blair Witch game, because they showed like him looking at the beginning of the trailer in the camcorder at the end. That's just a theory, though.
Okay, should be cool. Should be cool. All right, let's keep on moving here. Okay, so Cyberpunk, we kind of got a new trailer again, a nice long freaking CG trailer, but it's like, I mean, who cares?
Well, they already showed like, yeah, it was disappointing not to see more gameplay, but they did show that like 45-minute one,
Yeah.
6 months ago or whatever.
I think they actually did show some gameplay, and I thought the facial animations looked kind of exceptional in this. So I think they've kind of taken it to the next level, these guys. And probably one of the coolest moments of the show was Keanu Reeves coming out. He's actually playing a big part in the game. I'm not really sure why, but yeah, I guess they're big fans of him.
Well, he's. I think just because of being Neo at John Wick, basically.
Yeah. It's like,
he'll always be the speed guy to me, though.
Yeah. Bram Stoker's Dracula, underrated movie. Underrated.
He's terrible in
that. April 2020, so that's right around the corner. So I guess. All right, and then just anything Cyberpunk, anything. I mean, I didn't really. Some of these games that
I don't know. I guess I'm getting a little more skeptical as we kind of go along. I would like to see more of like the kind of street level stuff, and just I would like to see more of the like open world ish kind of gameplay, because this is I think the main thing that people are super duper excited about, who aren't necessarily fans of the original Cyberpunk RPG, is that this is going to be like Cyberpunk Skyrim, or I guess more appropriately Witcher 3. Yeah, the scale and depth of everything is like a huge draw, and it's like, okay, yeah, we've got the CG trailers and like some kind of scripted story mission kind of stuff, but well, the emergent gameplay is really going to make or break this game.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see what they learn from Witcher 3, right, and then take it to the next level on their next open world kind of game here. So, yeah, I mean, but for a lot of these games that I'm like actually want to play, I'm really avoiding stuff. Like I haven't watched really anything for Cyberpunk other than the trailer. So, all right, and then they showed off Battletoads. The new Battletoads. I thought this looked like dog shit, and I'm not a fan of this thick line art style. This the Powerpuff Girls style. I'm not a big fan of it. So I don't know, but maybe kids like it. I mean, I guess the animation's okay, but I'm not a fan of the
kids
style.
Don't like it. It's just, they just made the old prank call to the rental place and asking if they have Battletoads thing. They just made it real again. So now I'm sorry to everyone who runs a GameStop.
And Rare's not even making this. It's like, why'd you guys even buy Rare?
Okay. Well, what Rare barely exists anymore. It's just a name that Microsoft owns.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the IP. And yeah, I mean, just oh yeah, it's got that terrible hover ship level,
Oh
so
no!
everyone's got to look forward to
No,
that.
don't
And I
bring
heard
that
it's just as
up.
tough too. So there you go.
Oh boy.
Why don't they just make this like a cool ass like 2-bit 3D style, like Octopath Traveler or something like that? Why not, Frank? Why not? All right, maybe the kids don't like that crap. Who knows? All right.
There was that other. There was what was the other like pixel art game that was kind of looking like that, where it had the depth of field thing going on. That was Microsoft, wasn't it? Totally blanking on it. There's too much crap going
Yeah, I'm
on.
not about. I'm sure there's like 5 of them or something like that. But all right, so just a quick couple hits. Metro Exodus is coming to Game Pass. That's pretty big, and they actually they pushed. They made a pretty compelling argument for Game Pass, including Game Pass Ultimate, which is basically Xbox Live, console Game Pass, PC Game Pass, for basically $15 a month, and so you got the crazy Xbox Game Pass deals with all those games on there, and then I guess at least 100 on PC games. Yeah, for $15 a month. So if you're kind of in that whole ecosystem, the Microsoft Xbox ecosystem, I think that's pretty compelling. So, any thoughts on that, on the Game Pass stuff?
I don't know. I zoned out at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if you like Halo and Gears of War, you're getting all those games like day one. So why not pay
Yeah.
$15 a month anyways? So all right, and then here we go. Here's a here's a kind of a surprise. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2019 or whatever they're gonna call it. So using the power of Azure, the cloud, they're bringing back Flight Simulator, and I think this is actually pretty cool. So I think this is a lot of people's first
Is it
game
just
they
gonna
actually played.
be like super duper crazy realistic, like 100% accurate physics kind of thing?
Well, I think it's more to do like the map. Well, yes, that too, but then also the maps and the locations and all that, 3D and all that stuff. And so finally, this is coming back, and maybe we can get a generation of kids back into the inverted joystick style, because
Yeah.
that's why I do play everything inverted, because playing Flight Simulator. It's like down is up. What? Oh, okay, all right, makes sense.
It's forward. It's forward. It's not up. Sorry.
And Frank, the final boss for Flight Simulator is the Boeing 737 Max. So if you can survive that plane, you beat the game. That is it 737 or 7777?
Yeah.
I don't know. The Max, right? Okay.
It's
All right.
like flying a big Pinto.
All right.
Speed joke with buybacks to Keanu. Moving on.
All right. So they got the new Elite controller, and they're gonna bump up the price another $20, $180. I think business wise, I think this is pretty smart. Like you already know people are gonna buy it. Why not charge them extra $20? Go for it. It's cash cow. Any thoughts on the Elite controller?
It's a controller.
Yep. $180 for a controller. Jesus. All right. Horizon, whatever. Forza Horizon is gonna get the Lego expansion. I guess that's kind of cool. I guess if you like that stuff.
Yeah, Forza.
All right.
They're doing all the. It's every Xbox game I don't care about.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of thing. It's like here's a little bit about Gears of War 5 and a little bit about Halo.
Yep. All right, so we can move along here. Gears Clash Royale. That's like a little handheld Clash Royale game. It doesn't look bad for a handheld game. Why not? The gameplay makes sense. You take cover behind stuff. All right. And then they showed off Scarlet, not Scorpio. Scarlet.
Oh yeah.
They didn't really show it off. They show off the font.
I'm surprised you even remembered to put that on there, because the hilarious thing is that how little talk of that there's been. We announced the next console and everyone's like, okay.
Yeah,
We assumed it was coming at some point.
it's gonna be more
Like-
powerful than the last one. Yep. Okay, we got
Are
it.
there games yet? Like, can you show us something that would amaze
Well-
us about it? It's like,
well,
no,
Frank-
they're talking about like the quality of life stuff, like all the
Elevators.
backwards compatibility, and I'm like, I am glad to hear that. That's not the first thing that I would discuss about this.
Yeah, so well, they did show off Halo Infinite, which is basically just a CG. Well, that's not. It's in game. It's game render. Great. Nothing else really about that. So.
It looks great. They always do.
Yeah. So again, and this is supposed to come out holiday of 2020, so that's next year. So yeah, they're gonna be. I think they're gonna be moving a lot of stuff over. I mean, Halo, yeah, definitely, it's coming out there. Maybe they might be moving like a. I don't know what's the pitch. It's just more powerful. I guess they didn't have a
Yeah.
price or anything.
They're gonna name it Xbox One, but with the number one and not written out,
Yeah.
just to make it as confusing as possible to grandmas buying birthday
Yeah.
presents.
Jeez, what will be the name? X Plus, Xbox One X Plus. Who knows?
It's probably actually
Um,
just gonna be Scarlet. They're like, it's Xbox Scarlet until we can think of something better. 1 year later, here's
so
Xbox Scarlet.
so I think they're definitely trying to beat Sony to the market and trying to get out first. But I think Sony's going to try to get out at the same time. But what do you think? Do you think they're going to go low price, like 400, or do you think they're going to keep it at 500, 600 maybe? What do you think? What are you going to predict?
I don't know, probably expensive if they're rushing to market first.
Yeah. So I mean, I think if you keep the Xbox One X at like 400, and then you sell, man, are they going to try it for 600? Be like, this is the premium.
Hmm.
They're not going to do that again, right? You got to have a mass market price.
All the Xbox Ones, the first gens, are gonna like detonate themselves at the end of the year, and you'll get a coupon to put towards the new one.
Yeah,
It's
but
a
like,
conspiracy, man.
and they haven't budged on the Xbox One X price. It's still like $500, right? So maybe they're comfortable with the console at that price. Maybe they're making, I don't know. Who knows? All right. Let's move over to. We're just gonna combine Bethesda, Ubisoft, and Square Enix and some other crap here. So let's just do Bethesda really quick. Blades, Elder Scroll Blades
Nobody cares.
is coming to the Switch. That's cool, right? That's pretty cool.
Isn't that a phone game?
Yeah, but you can play. I saw a button icons on the screen on gameplay, so you'll be able to play with the controller. So there you go. All right, so Fallout 76 is gonna have NPCs, Battle Royale, yay, big woo.
Yeah, there's you can really smell the flop sweat going on there. And
Yeah,
again, yeah, DLCs are not. This is not the place for them. E3. This is not the place for you to try to salvage your disaster. Though, I did get a used copy for cheap a while ago, so I am intrigued about the NPCs.
oh, the Fallout 76.
Yeah.
Well, they had a free preview. I did not try it, but I don't know. I mean, people are acting like it's fixed. I mean, who knows? You know? I
Well,
don't know.
they could. I mean, unless they've finally made the shooting in Fallout not suck.
No, I don't think so. I don't think they did that.
Yeah, it's gonna. How are they gonna do like a battle royale mode? Just battle royale.
Well,
The battle royale mode is just gonna be like Fallout 76 now with shitty Fortnite.
and they stole Battlefield's Firestorm mechanic, where it's
Yeah.
like a wall of fire. Copycat.
Though I guess you can get a nuke now if you collect enough like components that like creates a big fire area, so you can like control the zone that is out now a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. All right, and then
Right.
the developer of the producer of like what Resident Evil 4 and the Evil Within
Oh
and
yeah,
Evil
yeah.
Within 2, he
Shinji
showed off.
Mikami, I think.
Yeah, game Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yeah, that looked cool. What the hell kind of game is it?
Who knows? Wacky.
It's just a bunch of people getting raptured, and then a guy with magic and a bow and arrow. Okay, like, is this more of like a Souls-like, or is it gonna be more like a Evil Within shooter, but with magic? Come on, guys.
Yeah.
They didn't give us enough on that one. It's intriguing. I like the look of
Yep. All right, then here's kind of a blast from the past. Commander Keen
it.
for
It's a
mobile.
phone game.
Yeah, phone game. So,
I don't know. I feel bad for shitting on phone games all the time because there's actually some nice ones. But yeah, I'm sorry. Phone game now just
yeah,
means
not interested. Not
not
interested.
interested.
Wolfenstein is coming to VR. That's pretty cool. Youngblood is coming out in the summer, and including on the Switch. I guess day one or maybe a little bit later. But that's cool. Are you pre-ordering this, or are you gonna get this day one? Youngblood.
No, I probably won't pick it up day one because I don't know. It just from what I've seen, it just looks like more Wolfenstein, which I'm
Yeah.
not necessarily averse to. But I could replay the other games. I only played through them once, and they're short games. So I don't know. It does. It looks okay. I like the buddy pass system they have going on, so you can give your friend like a code that will let them download the game, but they can only play it with you or something to that effect. So
Yeah.
that's pretty.
Yeah, that may be fun co-op. So I wonder how they're gonna like scale that. And are you gonna have like is an AI character gonna follow you around during if you don't have a
Yeah, I think it will
homie?
be an AI in if you're just playing solo,
Okay.
because it's about like BJ Blazkowicz's daughters. Though they are adding health bars, which I have mixed feelings about, because it definitely means the enemies are getting spongier, since it's co-op. So
Oh, you mean health bars above the enemies? You mean?
yeah, this
Oh
is
wow.
that's new to Wolfenstein. I like if it's not going like full, loot shooter, but
Damn. Turn this into what? Destiny. Turn this into the
yeah.
Division. Oh.
I think I think it just means that the enemies are a lot spongier and you need to pass information as co-op. So, like, yeah, we're not getting loot yet, but it's still kind of like, we're kind of leaning that way,
I'll
guys.
tell you what though, it would be fun. I think it would be fun, like if maybe like a whole separate game, and maybe you don't have to play the Blastowitz family, but like a whole Resistance
Mhm.
group, and it is a looter shooter, and like the Division too. You know, it's a good game, but I just don't like those third-person clunky controllers. If you can give me something like that's silky smooth, like Wolfenstein and a loot shooter, I would be down for that
Mhm.
for sure. So as long as they're not like super spongy, I mean, yeah, you got a point right there. But just give me
That's
enemies.
because that's always the thing that turns me off of those games. I don't mind the
Yeah,
RPG mechanics per se, but I'm like, if I shoot you in the face, you should die.
yeah, exactly. All right, so then Arcane is not. I think they're moving away from Prey for a minute, maybe forever for a while, and they're doing a Deathloop. So I actually don't.
Also, what kind of game is it? It was an interesting trailer, guys.
Yeah, it
Just
seems like it's a
that's
third.
it.
I actually don't even remember this. I just know it's kind of like by a. It's like a Algerian Frenchman, right, or something like that. Isn't it something to do
No,
with?
well, it's
Isn't that the star of the?
uh, no, it's like a '60s spy thriller thing with a guy and a girl trapped in a time loop, and they're killing other people, but then they're also fighting each other. So this is all like,
All right. Yeah.
yeah.
I totally forgot all that. Maybe I wasn't paying attention, but
Yeah, it
it
was
sounds
just a
cool.
cinematic trailer. So it's
From what
like
you said.
it seems like it's going to be a third person shooter, and then it also seems like it's going to like be based around possibly like some kind of like Dark Souls invasion mechanic, or because it's like whenever one of them dies, it resets the loop. And yeah, so it's some kind of like anti co-op game, but all I really know is that it's very story focused.
Okay. All right. So then they also teased Orion streaming tech. So yeah, cool. I guess they're like we're the new Google. Maybe they're just doing that for the stock price.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe.
I don't know. It's weird that because Doom Eternal is like a launch title for Google Stadia. So I'm like, is Orion something that helps with Stadia, or are they doing Stadia and Orion, or what the hell is going
That's
on,
interesting.
guys?
Yeah. Good point. Yeah. So speaking of Doom Eternal, they show that off, and it's Doom. Lots of platforming. Look like in this one. So yeah, I mean,
Which is weird. That was not Doom back in the day. Now it is
yeah,
like that.
exactly.
It's a platforming shooter now. You couldn't jump in the original game, like at all. Uh, yeah, it looked okay. Another trend, I don't know when they started doing this at E3s, but like, no one's allowed to take their own footage, and it's just like they give you like the clips are longer, like the developers providing like a 20-minute B-roll playthrough that like shows highlights, but that's the only footage that everybody has. So there was like a clip of that with Doom, and then with that Control third-person shooter game, which looks totally sweet still. But yeah, it's like if you watch the different game journalist sites out there, um, it's always just those clips, different guy talking underneath it. But yeah, anyway, it looked okay.
Yeah, were the cyber demons in the first Doom 2016? The big giant like
Yeah, it's a
hooves.
boss fight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of got tired of Doom after a while, so I didn't go through all the way through it. So, all right, and then so that comes out November 22nd. Collector's Edition has a real helmet, Frank.
Cool.
Not a cat helmet, a real helmet you can play. Do not wear that on a motorcycle. I'm
I'm
guessing.
sure it's just plastic.
Yeah,
Uh, it's these things are getting expensive. There's a lot of
two
$200,
fifty,
$300
300. Yeah, 350.
collector's edition.
Good God.
Yeah, what was the Final Fantasy VII one? Was like has just a gigantic motorcycle statue guy, and it's like $350.
They're like, how high can we go? We can always discount it. Let's not leave
Well, it's
money on the
especially
table.
weird when it's like a new game, and it's like, how do you know it's going to be any good? It's going to be weird having that statue if you end up hating the game.
Yeah. All right, and then so I don't know anything else in Bethesda you wanted to go over. Probably went over way more than you wanted to go over.
No, I think that was pretty much it. Like Ghostwire, yeah, okay, but Deathloop, okay. And what are they? Come on, guys.
No gameplay. No gameplay. All right. Then Ubisoft. I'm not a big Ubisoft. Well, I mean, I respect them. They make cool games. But I'm not really into a bunch of them. But well, here's something that was kind of interesting. Assassin's Creed story creator for Odyssey. So it seems like you can basically like create like objectives and stuff. So
because if there's anything that
cool.
game was lacking in, it was side
content.
quests.
Yeah.
Like my friend who was playing that is just like, that's just so much. It never ends.
Well, then so you can start making these stories. Be like, oh yeah, so actually, it seems like they made this. It's actually way easier to make this game than we thought. Actually, so you just gotta put this and this and this.
One of the Infamous games had a similar feature where you could kind of make a side quest, and they were relatively. They obviously you're not gonna have cutscenes and stuff in them, but it was like you could kind of set up a thing, and then people could download it into their world and vote on it.
Yeah, it's a cool idea if you're like into that world and stuff.
If you absolutely can't get enough Assassin's Creed Odyssey,
yeah,
there's gonna be a lot of people recreating old mythology. Like,
that's cool.
you
Sure.
guys want to try my Agamemnon mission? Oedipus.
Yeah, the good sex scene in the Epidus Rex quest. All right, Watch Dogs Legion. I'm not into this thing either, but people that are into it thought it looked pretty good. It's got this recruiting mechanic where you basically recruit people and you can play with them. Seems like one of those GTA things where you can switch between characters and do missions and stuff.
Yeah, but they've got permadeath.
Yeah, permadeath. So that's pretty interesting. That's cool. It's an interesting twist on it. All right, Mythic Quest. The TV show, I guess for Netflix. This is a spoof show. It's basically The Office for a game development for I don't know what, a Conan the Barbarian type game or something like that.
But it is not itself a video game.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's like
Pass.
Yeah, it's kind of. Yeah, I didn't think it would look that. I didn't think it looked that fun, but it's the guy, one of those guys from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So there you go. All right. Just Dance. They showed off Just Dance. They had a Just Dance dancing segment, and it's still coming out to the Wii. So there you go. Still making them money. I'm just, God, who's buying that thing? Who's buying that? All right. Well, people must be buying that for like Christmas, like every year, because people are like, man, what should I get Mom? Well, she's got a Wii. She likes to Just Dance. We like doing that every Christmas. Let's just buy that. It's $30. Why not? I bet that's what happens.
Can we put it on Wii U? No.
Mm-hmm.
No. Just Wii.
Mm-hmm. All right. And of course, they got their own subscription service, Uplay. $15 a month. I think they're maybe overestimating their demand. $15 a month. That's pretty high to play Ubisoft games.
And for that kind of money, they're going to put zero effort into it because they know they're only going to get a few subscribers. So they're like, well, just get the people who have no real sense of money.
Yeah. All right, and then they showed off Roller Champions, which basically seems like roller derby plus Rocket League. I mean,
oh yeah,
it could be cool. I think it was like a preview though, or something like that. I did not check it out, but that could be cool.
There was a little gameplay, and it looked
very little, actually very little. But yeah, I guess there was a demo though too. So, Gods and Monsters, they ended with that. Basically looks like a Greek, uh, ancient Greek version of Breath of the Wild. So I guess it looked pretty cool. That's also coming to the Switch too. So it's kind of neat. All right. Anything from Ubisoft? You noted?
No, no. I
All right.
was like maybe Watch Dogs is kind of interesting, and that's the thing. Yeah, that's about it.
Yep. All right. We'll go through Square Enix really quick. If you love Final Fantasy, this is the show for you. All I gotta say though, they showed off more of a Final Fantasy VII, the remake, and I gotta say it looks pretty good. It does look pretty good. The graphics and the art direction and the animation, all that stuff looks good. It's gonna be segmented though, episodic.
Mm.
So
Man, it's
yeah,
taking them forever to make this game.
yeah. So the first one is just within Midgar. So I guess that's actually the first disc in the. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Makes
So
sense. Split it up by disc.
yeah. So this is gonna be interesting, how because every time you do this DLC episodic thing, like okay, you sell the first game a lot, and then like half of those people buy the next one, and then half, and basically a half gets cut off every time for every episode. So I wonder if these Final Fantasy diehard fans are going to turn that around and buy like all episodes and all that stuff. So that'll be interesting. I'm sure they won't.
You get the people after the fact who just buy them all in a bundle, like make up for that to a degree.
Yeah, yeah. So
you just gotta wait for that money.
They're gonna have to push that hard. Like buy the season pass for $60 or something. All right. And then a bunch of Dragon Quest games. I don't know who knows about this stuff. Final Fantasy games. When you see these games and these trailers, I don't know if these games are new or remakes anymore. Like I have no clue. I have no clue about this stuff. So, all right. Anything from the Square Enix?
Well, Avengers.
Yeah.
Which again is like, well, super hype. What kind of game is it? Like, okay, so we got a really cool cinematic trailer where everyone was making the Spaceballs joke about stunt doubles with, because it's clearly supposed to be the MCU iterations of the characters, but they don't have the likeness rights for any of the actors. So that's why everyone looks like a stunt double. But if it's something that could be super duper cool if they pull it off. Like they're giving the impression that they're trying to make, a co-op, like expandable with different characters and chapters, version of the Spider-Man game, basically. In fact, there's like rumors, which are unlikely because they're different companies and Spider-Man's PS4 only. But there's rumors that they're going to be a shared universe because Spider-Man mentions the Avengers being on the West Coast in the Spider-Man game if you go to Avengers Tower, and then this trailer took place in San Francisco. So, but that's all the information we have on that. But yeah, so it's just no gameplay.
Who knows? Who knows?
But and then also I was they kind of made me mad. I saw what no gameplay, so I was like, okay, fine, I'll listen to the guy talk for the presentation. So I skipped around in the presentation, and I wonder how many other companies are doing this right now. They do a really, really sneaky way of saying that the game has microtransactions now, where they proudly announce that the game will have no pay-to-win elements and no I don't even remember what the other things is, but he specifically does not say.
Oh, no loot boxes, no random. loot boxes.
No loot boxes. Yeah, no loot boxes. And everyone, goes nuts. They're like, "Whoa, yeah,
why are people cheering
that? And they're like, you notice how we didn't say no cosmetic microtransactions? Yeah. You're going to be buying so many different colored shorts for the Hulk."
Yeah. Well, hey, I tell you what. Again, playing Spider-Man, when you see some of those outfits, I was like, man, I would actually pay money for some of these if I was a big Spider-Man nerd. But yeah.
Which
All right.
also makes it even weirder that they're sticking with for the trailer. They're sticking with the MCU looking version of the characters because it's like, well, if the game is just going to be we're all just wearing their customized costumes anyway, why do you guys got to be so slavish to Robert Downey Jr. version?
Mhm.
But oh well.
Yep. All right.
Oh, and also before I watched that trailer, this is just more old man ranting now.
Mhm.
Before I watched that trailer on YouTube, it showed me a commercial for a new line of Avengers toys. So, okay, first of all, I have to watch a commercial in order to watch
Oh
the
man.
commercial I'm about to watch. But the Avengers toys, so you collect them all to build the Hulk. So like there's like a Hulk arm like included with like Shuri from Black Panther. Uh or so like you get a piece of the Hulk with every character. So if you want to have the Hulk, you have to buy them all and take them out of their packages so that you can assemble him. And there's a lot of them. Like I think they're breaking them up into relatively small components. And I'm like, okay, that's seedy to do anyway. But also now there's like this implication of like Shuri from Black Panther like has to solve the grisly murder of the Hulk because somebody mailed her his dismembered leg.
Mhm.
Because that's what it comes with. If you just have that one toy, you're like, here you go, and they're like, what's with the Hulk leg? And I'm like, well, she's using her science to find out how somebody cut his leg off with a gamma irradiated chainsaw. Okay, and sorry, that was just getting off topic.
All
there.
right. We
Right.
gotta buy all 5 because it won't make sense. Gotta buy all 5. All right. Let's go over to Nintendo. Nintendo did a direct show. Was it Monday or Tuesday? I do not remember. So
Mhm.
let's just go over the big
I have
hits.
no idea when E3 actually starts or ends because everyone like does their thing the day before anyway.
Yeah, everyone does their press conferences before. Like I thought E3 started on Monday, right? All right. They showed off Luigi Mansion 3. I thought that looked really good. They showed multiplayer, including Gooey Luigi, Gooey Luigi, Gooigi.
There's just a constellation of Ouijas these days.
I know. How about Luigi? How about that one? Is there?
Did they make in any of the other? I've never played any of these. Do they ever make Ouija board jokes?
No, yeah, no, I don't think so.
They're not having the Luigi board or the Waluigi board. Waluigi's not in it. I'm waiting. Like I watched that trailer, just waiting for the drop to like, oh, here's Waluigi as the bad guy. He's finally in a game for once.
I don't think is Waluigi in Mario. I don't think Waluigi is exactly canon in Mario unless it's like a multiplayer kind of thing going, like in the actual Mario, because he's kind of like a doofus, right? All right. Okay, here we go. The Dark Crystal XCOM game. It looked like it. But basically, by the way, the Netflix Dark Crystal series looks freaking awesome. Look,
Yeah,
is that CG or is that Muppets?
The algorithm really has our generation figured out.
Yeah, exactly. Is that CG or is that Muppets?
It looks like CG assisted Muppets.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Yeah, so an Xbox game. It seems like that looked pretty cool. Probably not gonna get it, but it definitely looked cool. And then they showed off Link's Awakening, the remake for the Switch. It has this really cool kind of plasticky, kind of like a plastic toy kind of stuff. Looked awesome, very awesome. And
that depth of field thing, the 3D dot game Heroes effect, that's always cool.
Yeah, and it's even got its own dungeon maker, so you can even kind of make your own 2D dungeon using these kind of these templates of these rooms. And I think this might be like a little bit of a test before they do a Zelda dungeon maker.
Zelda maker.
Yeah, Zelda maker. So yeah, so September 20th, I'll definitely be getting that for sure. So that looked definitely pretty dope. They showed off a remake of Trials of Mana, which is a sequel. I was not aware of this, but it's basically the sequel of Secret of Mana for the SNES, only in Japan. Never came out to the States. Yeah, so they're going to do a remake of that, a la the last Secret of Mana remake. And then they actually are releasing a collection of all 3 Mana games, including the Game Boy game, which was a Final Fantasy Adventures game out here, the Super NES one, and then the Trials of Mana. $40. $40, Frank,
Mm.
for some SNES games and a Game Boy game. All right. Uh, yeah, maybe for 20 bucks. I don't know. Do I want to go back and play a 16-bit Secret of Mana game? I'm not really sure. All right. For 60 hours too. By the way, those games were long. Those were long ass games.
They were.
Um,
Skip through a lot of text blocks.
yeah, a lot of grinding. A lot of those games like grinding and stuff too. All right. The Witcher 3. Yeah. By the way, people complain about like forced grind. I mean that's what 16-bit RPGs are, right? They're just forcing you to grind. All right, Witcher 3 is coming to the Switch, and I mean I have this for the PS4, but it is kind of interesting. This is coming out, so it'd be nice to see how this actually runs.
Yeah, there's a lot of ports because there's Alien Isolation was also getting ported to Switch, so among other things.
Yeah, I mean if the Switch is your only system, I mean why would you not get these games, right? I mean other than the fact they're $60, but
well, and it like I guess from just from the outside looking in perspective here of that seems like a pretty strong signal that like the Switch has a lot of people who don't have the other consoles.
Yeah,
like Nintendo diehards and stuff. So
or like teenagers,
Yeah. So it just basically means that market is like big enough that the Alien Isolation guys are like, well, we want in on this too, because
why not?
Surely if you had a PS4 or a Xbox and a Switch, you'd probably just play Alien Isolation on the other console.
By the way, you can get it for $5 too.
Yeah, it's cheap.
Yeah. All right. What else we got? Oh yeah. Okay. So then Resident Evil. Speaking of which, Resident Evil 5 and 6. Which is the Frank? Which one is the racist one where you just kill a bunch of black people in Africa? Is that 6?
That's 5.
5's 5. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. All right.
Yeah, but it ended up being less racist than I thought it was going to be. But then like the guys with the big tribal Ooga Booga masks came out, and I'm like, oh no, they're still being racist.
And 6 is that multiplayer one, right? Where it kind of converges on like a 4-player.
Well, they're both like 5 and 6 are both multiplayer. They're the forced co-op ones. That was my biggest problem with it, because I didn't care for the co-op. I mean, it's fun in mercenaries mode, but that was I remember a boss fight because you got the limited, very limited inventory since it's co-op too. So you have to kind of like move stuff back to your partner. There was a boss fight once where I had to run away from the AI partner as in addition to the boss because she kept trying to hand me ammo and I needed the free inventory space to like mix the herbs I had so I could get a healing item.
Yeah.
So it was hilarious. I was literally running away from her to try to get enough distance to do it before she runs up to me and puts bullets in my pocket.
Yeah. I mean that you know what? Just thinking about this, because I'm guessing it's gonna have multiplayer on the Switch. So just having like a couch co-op with each person with a Switch, that would be pretty fun. Playing these games.
Yeah, that would be. But yeah, it's. I mean, they're not awful games. I never really played 6 much, but they're, Resident Evil 4 is already out there. Play that one.
What? By the way, what happened? Did the guy who did 4 did he get fired, or were they like, "Hey, we're gonna take this in a different direction"? I mean, what happened here?
Well, no, he's.
Did he
I don't know
leave?
if he got fired, but he's the guy who's doing.
Yeah, I know.
Ghostwire.
Yeah, I know that, but like, I'm just saying, did he leave after 4, and then that's why? Because 5 and 6 is way more like arcadey, right? Like way different.
I don't know. They build off of 4, but yeah, they like take it too far.
Yeah. All right, and then No More Heroes 3 was shown off. So I'm not into these games, but I know some people like that guy. It's kind of great. I know you like Suda. Yeah, you like him, right? All right, and then Contra Rogue Core, a new Contra game with a Panda as a player. I don't remember Panda being the Contra universe, but I could be wrong about that. But yeah, it looks like a kind of a 4-player Diablo type game. So like a Gauntlet almost, I would say, maybe. Like with Contra.
Yeah, but with machine guns and pandas. I know. They just released the collection of all the Contra games on current consoles, the old ones. And it's funny, they're like, we've got 10 Contra games in one package. I'm like, wait a second, 10 Contra games? And they're like, yeah. the first one, the arcade version, the first one, the Nintendo version, the first one, the Nintendo Famicom version.
Uh,
Uh, and they even have the European ones where the
oh
game's
yeah,
called Probotector and they
yeah,
have to be
different sprites.
robots.
Yeah,
And it's like, aren't a lot of these basically the same game? Shut up, we're
just
Konami.
just censored. But hey, I think we've all been asking for new Contra games, so I don't know if this is what we wanted, but yeah, here we are.
But hey, with 10 games, I'll be able to get through 10 levels.
Yeah. And by the way, are the is the up down left right A B A B is it retroactive to all those games too? By the way,
Well, they did mention it in like the advertisements, so
yeah.
it's gonna do something.
All right, and here's kind of a shock. Panzer Dragoon remake. So that looked pretty cool. I don't know if this is gonna be a Switch exclusive. I'm sure it's gonna come out to other things, but I thought it looked pretty cool. I got fond. I mean, I never had a Saturn, but a friend of mine had a Saturn. I played it, and probably too young to appreciate it. But I mean, it looked amazing at the time, and this looks pretty good. So get that 60 frame rate, 60 frames per second frame rate. All right, Mario and Sonic at the Olympics on online play. I mean, I guess people buy these games to make more of them, but
Yeah. It's one of those things like, why bother announcing that at E3? We know you're going to make that. We know it's going to exist at some point.
yeah, it's got online play now, I guess. So there you go. I guess that could be fun. Is there going to be a hardcore online competitive Sonic Mario and Sonic Olympics competition?
Sure.
All right, Animal Crossing New Horizon, they showed off. I mean, it looked good if you're into that Animal Crossing stuff. I got delayed till March 2020. And there's actually a couple of stories coming out saying Nintendo was saying, yeah, we delayed it because we didn't want to crunch. And the Bowser president guy was basically saying, yeah, we tried to. They were doing some PR showing how good Nintendo is and all this stuff. So
yeah,
we don't do crunch.
Well, and the funny thing is, then their stock went down. So.
Yeah, like you don't do crunch. What? Like what?
But I think their stock goes down like anytime they announce anything. But
yeah,
still,
pretty much. Well, I think people sell it. I think that's why, because I think people try to sell high with these announcements. Yeah. Be like, let me sell it, and then there's a bunch of supply on the market. I could be wrong. Yeah. Could be wrong, but all right. The Spyro is coming out, so that's cool. That's cool. Another PS1 game coming back to Nintendo, like the dogs that you are. Look who's come begging to Mario's lap. Listen, as a fanboy of Nintendo during those years where a lot of these PlayStation games were on these CDs and looking better than Nintendo 64, it feels good to see these people coming back. Like I did anything to do any of this. All right, then, yeah, like you said, Alien Isolation's coming out. That's cool. Playing that with headphones and a Switch, that'd be pretty dope. Banjo-Kazooie is coming in Smash Brothers. So Microsoft and Nintendo seem like they're in pretty good relations if they're licensing that character. So it's cool. And then they announced that there's going to be a Breath of the Wild sequel. It's in development, and yeah, they kind of showed off a cryptic trailer. It looked like it was in-game engine. But I don't know, it seems something to do about like Ganon being resurrected, and I don't know, Zelda's got like short hair, so. And it seems like you're going to be in the same world, but I really honestly hope it's like way different, like a Dark World. They got to do it, change it up, because you just can't like do another game in that same world. We've all been through that world a billion times, so it's like you got to change up.
Maybe it'll be the new Majora's Mask and have a time loop. Actually, I'm pretty sure they didn't say it does not have a time loop, but it would make sense with all the time loops. They didn't even talk about the other time loop. There was another Xbox One. It's like a puzzle game where you're like top down,
12 hours,
minute time loop in
12 minutes,
apartment.
Right? Yeah, 12 minutes. Yeah, that game. I don't know. That game looked okay. No, okay. So yeah, Breath of the Wild. Yeah, I mean, looked cool, but well, I mean, it wasn't really like anything. So, all right. So that was the Nintendo conference. Frank, I did not watch the Devolver Digital conference. Did you want to?
I did. Oh,
did you have highlights of that?
You missed one Nintendo though.
All right.
Astral Chain.
Oh yeah,
looks cool.
Yeah, that is the
Platinum.
Platinum, yeah, that's right. And it's like you're chained to another person or something.
I think Platinum is like the big thing. I mean, other than just obviously like Nintendo's own stuff, Platinum is the big like second party that I'm unhappy is like Nintendo exclusive these days, or
That's those are
semi-exclusive.
your killer apps right there.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, we got Near, I guess.
yeah.
I'll live with Near. I'll go play Near again.
Uh, yeah, that's too anime. That's too anime for me. That stuff's just too anime for me. I can't handle that stuff. All right, so let's just go. Oh yeah, so yeah, did you want to go some highlights for the Devolver Digital?
Yeah, it's again, not a whole lot of new stuff. I was bummed that we didn't get any like release date for Metal Wolf Chaos, the remake or remaster, I think. Um, but they picked up Carrion, which was it's like a side-scrolling pixel art thing, but you're a giant flesh monster, like eating scientists in a lab. So it's like like an '80s monster movie, but you're the monster. Um, and yeah, it's been kind of floating around, like gifs of it go viral every once in a while. But yeah, so Devolver, I guess, has picked that one up. Um, I don't know. It's one of the things I'm most excited about,
Mm.
even though it's just some random indie game that there's going to be an Enter the Gungeon arcade cabinet. I don't know if you have to go to Dave and Buster's or whatever, but it's a shooting gallery. Like I think it's Enter the Gungeon House of the Gun Dead. But that's cute. Um, they did their usual like sketch comedy presentation. Um, they were just like a RoboCop pastiche for a while, and then they shoot. There is like a photo studio, a shooting somewhere in LA. That has been so overused lately that I'm recognizing it, but it's the one with the like LED ceiling tiles that can change color. So it just looks like a warehouse with the walls painted black and this color changing like tile ceiling, and it's been in like music videos. And but anyway, there's
Mm.
digress. They shot it there, but let's see what else did they actually announce. Fall Guy, which again, like, come on, you guys have to be more clear about the genre of your game. Like, I guess I should have got that it was a competitive thing by the fact that the last one got a little crown when he won. But so I thought it was Lemmings. I thought this was the new Lemmings. It's Fall Guy, and it's like 100 players, um, and you're like little cute little jelly people, and it's to see who can get to the end of like a giant like obstacle course, and it's like last man standing getting to the end, and like some of it's like it looks like some of it's going to be semi randomized, like everybody falls down a pachinko machine, so like you don't have that, like some people are going to get knocked out without having any control over that. Which is why I thought it was going to be like a Lemmings game where it was like get one guy to the end, and then I thought maybe it was going to be funny where they were going to like you have the guy get to the end and then you see the last guy's like how he went through the crowd the whole time. Like that's what I assumed the crown meant. But no, it's
Mm.
actually some kind of battle royale, 100 players, last man standing thing. I know. We gotta see gameplay. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
It risky having like 100 players. Like if it flops, like it's gonna flop quickly. But and then yeah, there was usual DLCs. Please stop announcing them at E3. But one of the other funny things was they made a $5 bundle on Steam you can get of deboots of their games. I guess it's like it's supposed to be knockoffs. So you can get like shitty knockoffs of every popular um, Devolver Digital game
Uh,
as their own like entire little game. So it's like Enter the Gungeon is Enter the Gun Dungeon.
mm.
And but my personal favorite that I would actually like to play someday is Hotline Milwaukee, which is the bootleg version of Hotline Miami, obviously. Which basically looks like a 8-bit version. Like if Hotline Miami was 16-bit, this would be the 8-bit Super Nintendo down to Nintendo version. So probably not like the most fun games in the world, but I bet they're pretty amusing. Uh, and yeah, it looks like they just did this for shits and giggles.
Mm.
Yeah, otherwise a little on the disappointing side. I was hoping for new stuff. I was hoping for like some brand new thing to blow my brains out, but
No,
maybe
this
next.
I think that's kind of the whole summary of E3 right there.
Yeah, it was
Nothing,
either stuff that was too new and they didn't, they don't have enough information to get me interested, or old news.
a bunch of retreads, a bunch of remakes and stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, let's go give our E3 awards for the show. Let's just do game of the show. Let's just start off with that. I'm just gonna say, Link's Awakening. This is just an easy, safe answer, but the Link's Awakening looks great. It's Zelda, and I mean, yeah, it's a remake of a Game Boy game, so not really pushing the innovation here, but it's exactly what I want. I'm definitely gonna get that 100% for sure. So that to me is like showing Game of the Year right there, or not Game of the Year, but Game of the Show. How about you, Frank? What do you think?
The winner of the show for me, which I am defining as the game that I did not know about, that now I do know about, that I am definitely going to buy, would be Elden Ring. But again, so early, we just got like a cinematic trailer, and in traditional From Software style, like all we really saw was like that's going to be a boss you fight at some point in that game.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the From Software. What R Geiger or GG? What's his name? GRR Geiger?
George R.R. Martin.
Martin. Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's From Software combining forces with George R.R. Martin of Game of Thrones fame and Sand Kings. He wrote Sand Kings.
Yeah.
But which is a good Outer Limits episode. It's going to be cool, probably. All we know about it is that it's going to be heavy RPG elements. So go in the opposite direction as Sekiro from the formula. So, but yeah. That's my winner. That's the thing I cared about the most.
All right, and so I don't know, maybe that's overlapping, but the winner of E3, and by this I mean like the the big manufacturers and all that stuff, or the big publishers. But I gotta say, of all the games they showed, and a lot of good stuff, a lot of gameplay they actually showed. But I would say Nintendo, I thought, had the best show. They had the best variety, and I just thought they showed a bunch of cool, interesting stuff that everyone can find something they would like to play. So again, kind of a safe answer, not very exciting. It was kind of a boring E3 overall. But yeah, I thought Nintendo had the best show. But yeah, Frank, what do you think?
I think just as far as the amount of attention that I was kind of seeing in the spaces in the world that I spy into with my seeing eye scrying orbs, just phone, would be Cyberpunk. That seemed to have the most buzz, I would say.
Yeah.
Not always positive buzz, but it's getting a lot of buzz. Like people were kind of upset about like a penis in an ad.
Yeah, those are kind of big stories, like I guess for a minute. Or were they? I'm not really sure, but
I don't know. It's too early to tell if the game's going to be problematic or not, and it probably will because they usually are. Most games are. There's no perfect art out there.
Yeah, it's a controversial game, right? They're going to be pushing the boundaries. But like, you know what? Speaking of that ad, I was the more I looked at it, the more I was like, man, you know what? That actually could be something other than an erect penis underneath. Like, it could be like just a weird thing, like a belt.
Well, it's clearly a cyber penis.
Yeah, or something. By the way, yeah, the thing's giant. It's like a rolling pin size. By the way,
it's a perk you can get in the game.
Yeah,
and it's no matter what gender you have, you can get the gigantic cyber penis. It's you take less damage to shots to your lower body. Mm-hmm. Can launch off to like fly around as a camera drone.
It's heavy metal. This is heavy metal, right? Heavy metal, the video game. All right. And then so we'll just do some. All right. Any other awards for E3? I mean, do you want to do most disappointing? I mean, I don't know. I mean, that
I don't know. It's like
I'd say Jedi
most
Fallen Order.
disappointing. I guess like I don't know Ubisoft or EA, somebody I didn't really care about.
Yeah, I'd say Jedi Fallen Order to me was the most disappointing. Like, I was not impressed by that game at all. Not at
Yeah.
all. It just so, and maybe again, maybe because I just played Spider Man, but it just looks so just old, old,
Mm.
old, old. Like it's someone's first third person game, and they don't really know how to do it like perfect. You know?
Mm.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So that's it. I mean, that's the awards. But and let's just go through some odds and ends really quick, and we'll be moving on because we're going super long. But we're seeing some. Well, okay. First of all, TurboGrafx 16 Mini was announced. So if you want to play Bonk, you can forever.
Yeah, much to my shame, I didn't know that the PC Engine and the TurboGrafx 16 were like the same thing until like last week.
Yeah, it's
But
a little.
they're gonna do all like you have the different ones. Here's the PC Engine, here's the TurboGrafx 16. I don't know if they're selling them in their respective, strictly in their respective zones or anything, but
Yeah, what a weird thing. Like in Japan, they're trying to sell these things as computers, and then like here, they're like just video game systems. But all right. And then yeah, I saw these. I don't know if these are directly EA related, but a lot of these arcade machines are kind of these recreates for like 300, $350, 500, whatever. But this looked pretty cool. A Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle arcade machine with that first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle arcade game, and then Turtles in Time, which I'm not super familiar with, but I know I remember looking at better graphics than the first one. That's for sure.
they're all classics because it's got the fighting game one in there too, right?
Well, then they had the Marvel one for
Oh.
300, and then that's Marvel superheroes, X-Men, Children of the Atom, and then the Punisher. So I don't know. Is that a Streets of Rage type of side scroll?
Yeah, Punisher's a beat 'em up.
Yeah.
I got all excited for a second because I was like, "Oh, the X-Men beat him up," and I'm like, "Oh, wait, no, that was Konami, not Capcom." Curse you, Konami!
mhm. Yeah, that one of the three TVs. That one was
Yeah.
pretty crazy. Man, that was expensive. I didn't play that. It was too expensive for my blood. Let's see. Let's give us the Simpsons arcade machine, huh? How about that? Let's see
They
that.
lost the license to that because you could get it on your phone for a while and on like PS3, and then it went away.
Yeah. All right, and that's all the news I had for this week. Frank, did you have anything to add? And
Um,
then what we got?
no, everything's been pretty much E3 related. I guess one big surprise that came out was I'm a lot more interested in Remnant from the Ashes than I was. I watched some gameplay of that. I can't even remember what the publisher is, or like it was on YouTube. But that's the like a Dark Souls inspired shooter. Like it looks kind of like a cross between Dark Souls and Gears of War. So it's like shooting focused, but there's still melee combat. But you've got the dive roll is quite springy, and like involves a lot of jumping out of the way of the bosses. But it's going to be like 3-player co-op, procedurally generated dungeons. It's got kind of a almost World War One ish kind of aesthetic, but it's just post-apocalyptic with kind of sewn together armor and stuff. I don't know. It looks pretty sweet. It's just very brown, and like I feel like, especially since it's procedurally generated, is it might like end up being kind of dull and flat. We'll see. We'll see how much story they put into there. But
Alrighty.
that's all I got.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's take a break, and we'll be right back with the games we've been playing. All right. Let me. I gotta refill my water. I'll be right back.
Sure. I'll also be right back. Yo
Yo.
yo.
All right. Let's.
Terrible asparagus pea.
Uh.
Anyway,
All
video
right.
games.
Let's. We are. Yeah. We are live still. Let's make this quick. Huh? Let's not take too much time on these. All right.
Not a problem.
Yeah. All right. So we are back, and Frank, why don't you go first and tell us what you've been
Yeah,
playing?
I've been real busy this week. I mean, I guess I watched a lot of YouTube videos because I had some time in the office, but I can't actually play video games there, so I, really haven't had a chance. Other than all the way, it's like a week ago already, but yeah, technically I did beat Hellblade. Um, it ends with a unwinnable fight. Spoiler alert! And I've got pretty good at the combat at that point, so it took a while. I was like,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
I think I have to die here because the game's like throwing like every tough enemy at you, and I because of all my Sekiro practice, I'm really good at the parry in that game because it's like half the speed of Sekiro. So I'm just parrying everything and like building up enough energy to go into the slow mode and just wipe through guys in a couple of hits and but yeah, so the game just keeps throwing more and more at you and then like doing like a big effect that like makes your character flinch. So I'm like, your game is cheating. Like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to die. But no, I highly recommend it. It's if you can get, especially if you can get it cheap. I got it for like $20, and I think it was only like 30 or 40 to begin with. But yeah, it's a short game. And then with the auto scaling difficulty, if you die, it gets easier. If you do good, it gets harder. Works pretty well, and so it's like it's an intimidating feeling game. It does a lot of it's very oppressive in the atmosphere, but as far as actual like the gameplay and the story and everything, it's quite accessible.
All right.
It actually reminds me a lot of experimental film. Like, so it reminded me of A Night Journey, the Bill Viola experimental film video game that recently became available on PS4. Because it mixes in the video clips. Because the main lady is the only person who's modeled. All the other NPCs are just like video that is disguised with like grain and depth of field effects and just lots of post processing to kind of that after a while you're like, wait a second, you're not a 3D dimensional character in the same space. You're like a video being projected on the background. But then after I noticed that, like it actually really grew on me, like as an effect. gives it a art house feel for the video games. So yeah.
Alrighty. All right. Well, so Sony had their big PlayStation sale. Spider-Man was $20, so I snatched that up pretty quick. And Frank, we love hyperbole on this show, Frank. And I gotta say, I think this is probably the best open world game yet. Published, released, developed, or whatever. And not that it does really anything new, and not that it you climb up the towers and all that stuff, and you do the mini games and stuff reveals, and gotta go to them, and you got the mission diamond telling you where to go and all that stuff. But simply the movement with the web and the just traversing, they just nailed the momentum and the weight and how you swing and all this stuff and the different controls and what you need to be able to do. Yeah, you can swing, but then there's these other little things like I guess if you push X, you kind of like grab onto a like the nearest building or whatever, just so it kind of pulls you a little bit forward. It kind of gives you a little bit of momentum. And then you pull on both triggers and it like brings you to like a perch. And then when you hit the perch, you can like hit X to jump and get a big jump and all this stuff. And it's just instead of riding a stupid horse and knowing you're gonna have to like run into a bunch of enemies, you're just like basically just flying through the the city and all that stuff. And just it's really awesome. It feels really great. And you don't really spend that much time like at the ground. When you actually go to the ground, it's pretty crazy how much detail and how much attention they they really paid to it. And just I guess that's the whole thing about the whole game. So much attention, so much polish, so just everything is so perfectly done. The cinematics are some of the best cinematic sequences I've seen, and I think this beats Uncharted 4 by far, even God of War by far as well. And the Batman kind of gameplay, the button kind of gameplay. I mean, it feels really good when you're doing that. I'd say a lot of these games, these controls are a little bit too crazy because when you open up the controls and there's like a big ass list of all the different moves you have and all that stuff, you're like, man, how do I do that? And what do I do that? And then you're like unlocking more powers, and you can do this and that, and you can hit people in the air, and it's just, oh my god, it gets a little bit too crazy.
Yeah, well, I would say I think it does a good job of, using the open world structure to like introduce things to you slowly, because you get to kind of pick
Yeah,
like which new powers you kind of want to add to your repertoire. Like, do I want to, do all the traversal things first and get like, the being able to pull yourself twice through the air or that kind of stuff. But it is a problem. I have noticed going back to it for like, because I've got one DLC left, like that's I've basically 100%ed the game and the first two DLCs, and haven't started the third one yet. But I remember like every time I've started a DLC, it's been like, oh crap. It is hard to figure out what you've got going on when you have everything unlocked.
Well, and then I'm sure they're giving you all these guys that they throw at you at once, so you like need to do all this kind of crazy stuff to like actually
well,
defeat
I have
these
the
guys.
difficulty turned up too, and I'm like, I might have to turn this down for when I hop back into it, because it's like, okay, here's a bunch of big guys and like the rocket launcher guys all surrounding you.
Yeah. And then also like like I was saying before, that move when you're web slinging and you push X to like kind of go a little bit forward. Well, when you're in combat, you push triangle to kind of like grab the guy and go towards him. So it's like, like I think it's just you gotta ask.
Well, you gotta kind of treat that one as like your heavy attack.
Yeah.
Like, because it's basically like the Batman, Arkham games, except you don't do the thing where when you I guess with Batman it's the triangle is the counter, but like when you hit an attack button in those games, like Batman will jump across the room to like lock on to the guy that the game thinks you're trying to hit, and it works a lot the same way, except now you've got like the regular punch is like a super short range. Like he'll snap to somebody relatively close, but if the guy's halfway across the room, he'll just punch the air like a goon. But if you hit the triangle, then you kind of manually do that. So I don't know. It's like you were saying, how the game's like not really doing anything new. It's just kind of like it's doing a really good version of all these things. Like the traversal, open world traversal, and then the combat is just kind of like a nicely refined version of the Batman combat, which I always have a hard time also working the traversal in, because it's you forget that you can totally like do half that stuff. You can swing from the ceiling, and when you're doing the big fights like inside a warehouse, so it's easy. Like when you got to remember that when you're getting overwhelmed, that you can just fuck out of there.
I know, yeah. You forget what you can do, and then I'm getting all these gadgets that like knock everyone out at once. It's like, oh man, I was like, you totally forget what's at your disposal. And yeah, just the when you're in those fights, when you push like a circle and you kind of like slide underneath the guy on the other side of him and all this stuff, or you throw you push the shoulder buttons to grab like a manhole cover and he swings it around, and just the animation between those those motions is so perfect, and there's no like, it just seems so fluid. I mean, and it's so responsive. So they nailed it 100%. Just other couple notes here, really quick. Oh yeah, it's still got these stupid mini games where you gotta like connect circuits for Dr. Oct and all this crap. It's like, I wish can we just we got to the point where we can skip all these QTEs just by holding it down. Can we just skip all these mini games? I don't want to play these fucking mini games in these open world games. All right, I'm not here to play fucking Snake.
Well,
okay?
you don't usually have to do them. I mean, they're mostly optional.
It's upgrade stuff, yeah.
You want those sweet upgrade points, yeah.
Although I'll say doing the frequency for the towers, I like that. That's a puzzle I like. So it's a little scientific at least too. All right, a couple other things. Oh yeah, yeah. It's basically like a polished Naughty Dog game, but way better combat, way better movement. The chase sequences where you're like chasing a car or something like the helicopter, those are fucking awesome. Those are really well done. I wish there was a no HUD mode, a no heads up display. Also, because you know how you can, it gives you a target, so you can like hit them with both your hands and like perch up. I wish you could turn that shit off. I hate seeing that freaking white circle icon
Mm.
everywhere. It's like you gotta get a beautiful world. Why are you making me look at this stupid
Well, you got to know where you're going to auto
lines?
target if you
I,
if you hit the two triggers.
let me. I'm sure I can.
Uh,
Yeah,
I
whatever.
always the thing that always gets me about the chase scenes. Have you done the crimes where you're just chasing after the car and then you
Yeah.
gotta like hammer the button to stop it? The people in the car with pistols, because you usually get bonus like if you can do it without taking damage at all, like you get the little bonus or whatever, so you get extra points. That's surprisingly hard to do because the guys with pistols in the back seats of these cars that are like screeching down the narrow city streets of New York at top speeds to avoid Spider-Man are really good shots compared to just the regular guys on the ground
Yeah.
who are like 3 feet away from you.
Yeah, well, and then traffic all of a sudden opens up, so these guys can go wherever they want, and you can barely keep up. And then, yeah, that QTE game where you gotta go to the side of the car or where they're there before. It's like, I hate that shit. Just give me out of that. Just let me push triangle when I'm there, and let me do a ground pound, and let me get over with this stuff. You know, why we don't have to do these QTEs, guys? Like, this is not good gameplay. We don't need to do this stuff. All right, I love the I'm not a big Spider-Man fan. I'm still not, but I gotta say he's a perfect video game character. Just all the crazy stuff you can do with the web and all that stuff. So perfect use for him. I like the contemporary setting of this game. I like how it's set in a modern day world. It's not like a fantasy. It's not legend of whatever. So I like that kind of part of it. And yeah, I probably spent 10 hours of it this past weekend. I've been a little bit busy this week. I haven't put too much in time to it, but I definitely am going to play a lot of this game. Yeah, I mean the freaking costumes are awesome. Just the design of the whole game is perfect. I love how you like go through the gadgets and they like open up and they work. And the animations are so good, so well done, and they're like thoughtfully designed like they're real machines and all this stuff. And the writing is really good. Actually, I like Peter Parker's quips. I think they're actually kind of funny. And yeah, I like how they do kind of different things with Doctor. It's not just freaking the Spider-Man story we've seen 1,000 times. Is they kind of do different things. And how what's his face is the mayor and all that stuff. Doctor Doom is the mayor. And I don't know. I don't even really know the Spider-Man universe that well, so I don't know like normal people who they turn out to be or anything like that. So it's kind of a kind of a fresh story. And like I was actually watching Digital Foundry video because I like to go back and like see their scores of these games. And there's a spoiler. I didn't know that Chinese guy who runs the food eatery. I didn't know he was a bad guy until there's a cutscene in the game that shows that. So. Thanks, John Linneman. So, but I mean, yeah.
Well, if you were familiar with the character of Negative Man, you would totally know that was about to happen. Negative Man being a famous Spider-Man villain that was added in 2008.
Yeah. What the fuck is Negative Man? I've never heard of Negative Man. That's a real guy. That's his name, Negative Man.
Yeah, well, in the comics, they're doing one of those things where they're not like now I'm a supervillain, so now my name is Mr. Negative. He's just like he's split personality kind of thing. He's got powers.
Yep.
Yeah, but yeah, as somebody who's somewhat more familiar, I still didn't know who Mr. Negative was. Oh yeah, Mr. Negative. It's Harry Osborn, or what was his dad? I can't remember his name. Osborn, the mayor guy. He's gonna become the Green Goblin someday.
Oh yeah.
So the whole game. This is like try not to watch too many things to get this spoiled. But the whole game, you're like, okay, which one of you guys is turning into your villain at the end of this one?
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to be Doc Ock or is it going to be Green Goblin? So that was kind of a fun thing. It's like not knowing which one was going to turn into the main villain for most of the game.
And they set up, the hallmark of a good story is just the setup, right? Set up stuff so that you can have, conflict. And they set up stuff really well. and the story, like freaking Peter Parker, he can't pay rent, he's homeless, and then so that takes you to the homeless shelter, and then you find all this other stuff, and yeah, it moves you really well. The main story really runs pretty well. So, all right, I mean I mean everyone knows this game is great, so I definitely would. I gotta play more of it, but I would definitely say it's probably a 10 for sure. So 100%. Is that what you said? It was do you remember?
Yeah, I definitely have put it up there. I guess, yeah, just the fact that there's so little fat on it. Like, I don't mind the puzzles. So, then like they have fast travel in the game, but like, and it is fast. Like, it is technically faster to go from one side of the town to the other because the load times are pretty short. Uh, but most of the time you totally don't feel like you need it, and you're like, why is this even here? And then every once in a while you're like, all right, I want to do a mission, you know. And the game's like, well, we do have the fast travel, and then there's different animations depending of where you are in the game. Of like Spider-Man riding on the subway,
Yep.
it's very adorable. It's a good game.
Yep. By the way, have you played? Did you get God of War? Have you played that yet?
I have not.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say this is way better than God of War. So way better than God of War. Okay. Not that it's a competition. Well, I guess it is in a way, but not. Okay.
Capitalism, everything's a competition.
Yep. Okay. All right. So that's I think that's all we got. I think we're at 90 minutes here, so I think it's time to wrap this
Thanks
up.
for sticking with us, folks.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I'm about to pass out here. So, all right. So, I will get the music going. So, for Frank White, my name is Chris Stotts. It's been Chris Frank Games. We'll see you guys next week.
Keep gaming, folks.